Welcome back to the conversation. Good to have you along here. Joining me, a man that really needs no introduction, Mike Lindell. My Pillow has made him a fixture on American television, a celebrity because he made a product that, well, was sold to millions. It took him from being basically on Skid Row. He had a lot of issues and challenges, but he has risen in fame and success. Mike, good to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Steve.
I mean, I know I'm not supposed to say it, but you did pick yourself up by your bootstraps, right? That's some sort of a inappropriate thing to say in America anymore. I don't know why, but you really did do that.
Oh.
You picked yourself up, dusted yourself off, and you made things happen, didn't you?
Right. Yeah, I was an addict in every way, and then I became a crack cocaine addict. And, I can't change my past, but I can sure use that story to help others. I've got the Lindell Recovery Network.org set up. If you know anyone in addiction, you go there, it's free, and it helps so many people. So I wouldn't change a thing about my past if it wasn't where I'm at now. I know so many people have regrets and stuff, but I really don't. It's, I had to go through all that, and now I'm living the American dream that you could only, to go from a crack addict to where I'm at now. And I'm so thankful to God that my story is helping millions of people now.
Well, the funny thing about your story is we're lucky to share it here, but in so many places, you, like a lot of others these days, have found yourself canceled, silenced, removed from the conversation altogether. So you decided to do a couple of things about that. First of all, I hate the cancel culture. I think America is built on free speech. It's the foundational principle. I think whether people agree or disagree, the point is having the conversation and having different viewpoints to decide what is the best course of action. You removed from the conversation. So you decided to create your own social media platform, didn't you?
Yes, it's been great. It's frankspeech.com. The platform's called Frank, and we get about 2 million people a day, but people are pouring in because all these other podcasters and radio shows that have been silenced out there by your YouTubes and your Vimeos of the world, they're coming over now, and we're able to talk again. We're able to speak out, like you say, and have a conversation and talk about things that have become basically untouchable in the mainstream media and other things that you better not talk about them, or you might get sued. You might get taken off those platforms. And so many people have lost their whole livelihoods. That I have a friend of mine had 14 employees, and he does podcasts, and he talked about the border, and they took him down off YouTube and Vimeo. And
because he talked about the border.
He talked about the border.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not even machines and vaccines. That's the border. I mean, it's I couldn't believe it. And then another person I know that they had a guy on his show, and he sent out an email blast to all his subscribers, and Google took down his Google emails, his Gmails, and they took down his Google Maps for 2 days. I mean, this is very scary what we're in. I can't even buy my own name on Google. Google just canceled me again, or stopped me the other day on something. And Google, it's like they're all in it together. It's the world we're living in right now, where all social media and even networks, journalists out there, they're just it's just a complete cancel culture. I've lost over 20 some retailers to that they were attacked by bots and trolls, and shopping channels or retailers have all left. It's been just real terrible what's going on.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is you look now and you look at like the origins of the virus, of the Wuhan virus. Well, it came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Apparently that's was always right. And now the mainstream media is like, gosh, look at this. Donald Trump was right. And Mike Pompeo was right. And all of those people that were silenced and deplatformed, as they call it, because they said, look at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Well, guess what? Look at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, because that is still the epicenter. I've said it from the beginning. I believe this, and if they silence me for it, so it is. I'm not going to say it was intentional or not intentional. I have no idea. But I know that wet market that was ground zero early on in the pandemic is not far from where the Wuhan Institute of Virology is. I think it's entirely likely that somebody was contaminated with the virus. They went there to grab a panelin or a bat for dinner or whatever they were doing, and boom, the virus is out. It's into the environment, and away it goes. Right?
Absolutely. And that cancellation, what they did back then, And now they've admitted to it. Just on MSNBC, they admitted to it. They go, well, it wasn't a conspiracy. Donald Trump said it then, and it turns out it wasn't a conspiracy. I am very much looking forward to the day when when all the stuff I've been talking about, machines and all this stuff, and they go, wow, it wasn't a conspiracy, because so many people have been either sued or canceled out because of machines and vaccines, I call it. It's and talking about the virus or any of these things. And I want to tell you, last week or earlier this week, I got canceled out even at a governor's thing I was going to right before I was going to the dinner.
Yeah, in Tennessee, you were at the Republican Governors Association gathering, right? You were in Tennessee.
Yeah.
You had the tickets and whatever, and then they told you were not allowed to attend any of the meetings. Now, it seems to me if that's the truth, then they're being bullied. I mean, you've got the credentials with you. I can see it there, but you're being bullied. But why would the Republican has the cancel culture made you so toxic that you're not even allowed to speak or be seen or anything?
Well, that's what, here's what was done exactly. I came down from upstairs to get my credentials to go to the governor's mansion in Tennessee, and they gave me my credentials. He goes, Mike, this is your VIP. You're going to have a great time at the dinner, and here's the governors. They brought me back downstairs. You can mingle with the governors. The shuttle's coming. Then the guy came up, not even 3 minutes later, and I'm on the phone, and he's got this frantic look, and he says, Mike, he says, I got some bad news. He said, you've been uninvited to the dinner. And I said, well, why? And he goes, and this is what he said. It has something to do with Brian Kemp and Doug Ducey. And I said, what? I said, what? They don't want to hear what I might want to talk to them about a couple of things in their states. And anyway, I said, am I canceled for the other events too? And he says, I'm afraid you are. You're not allowed to any of the events. And I said, they should be ashamed of themselves. That's just more cancel culture. They're afraid even to talk to Mike Lindell. Why did they invite me in the first place? I guess, Doug Ducey is the chairman of the event, so I suppose he got wind that I was going to be at his table or by him, and he just feared, having a conversation. This is where we've gotten to in our country, and this is exactly why I put out frankspeech.com. People are afraid to even talk about things. And like you say, I'm not going to be silenced. I'm not going to be silenced. I've done nothing wrong. When I was on Jimmy Kimmel, I want to say something. What Jimmy said, he attacked me too. But during the commercial break, he said something to me. He said, Mike, because he had read my book, and he said, Mike, he said, all you've done, and you're getting canceled out, all you did was back a man you believed in. And I'll never forget that coming out of him. So he was kind of torn on his attacks. But back in the day when I first met Donald Trump in the summer of 2016, I didn't know anything about politics. I was an ex-crack addict, and
right.
I meet him in a private meeting. I get back to Minnesota and I do a press release saying, "Hey, I met President candidate Donald Trump." Didn't even tell him what we talked about. They attacked me, called me a racist. They called me everything you could imagine. I go, what did I do? This is where we're at, everybody, and it's very sad.
Well, Mike, it's unfortunate, and that's why I'm glad you've created Frank Speech. Mike Lindell here with us. And, Mike, I want to ask you about a couple of other things, because it just seems to me when you talk about machines and vaccines, I want to just focus on vaccines for a minute. Operation Warp Speed. Donald Trump, on January the 13th, 2020, began the pursuit of a vaccine, which he delivered as he said he would. A couple of things. First of all, he delivered the vaccine within 10 months, which Anthony Fauci said couldn't be done. And then he said there would be enough vaccines for every American to have the option to take it by April of 2021. Also turned out to be true. But if anyone comes out now and says, I don't know about the efficacy, I don't know if I want a vaccine, I think it might be dangerous for some people because of blood clots, whatever the case may be, you are just shut down. And this includes doctors from Stanford, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, other folks. But if you don't follow the orthodoxy, if you don't follow the talking points, you're out, aren't you?
Oh, for sure. I was brought a therapeutic last summer, and I went on CNN, and Anderson Cooper attacked me for 24 minutes straight. This started way before the vaccine was done. Therapeutics that were out there, they just attacked anybody that brought them up. My cousins were even threatened, their houses, everything. And now you talk about vaccines now, or you say one wrong word and you are canceled faster than if you talk about the machines. And I've said it before. I said, now everybody, if it doesn't make sense, if you want to take the vaccine, I say, good for you, Special K, good for you. But I'm not taking it. And that should be my right. If it's such a good deal. It should be your right. Right. And if it's such a good deal, then why do you worry about what I do? And I've even, Steve, I've even asked journalists from on the left, because although it seems to be the only ones lately that'll call and put me in the news. And they, and what they did, I said, how come you guys worry so much about what I do? Well, there'll be more deaths. And I said, well, I have a personal belief that I'm in more danger taking it. That's my belief. And, so, yeah, it makes you wonder, is there big pharma behind it? Is there big government? What's behind this? Why do they want to, mandate us all taking it? And then they say some places, well, you still have to wear a mask. You should still social distance. They got to,
Which makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, Rand Paul being the one-man wrecking crew out there saying, listen, if you've had the illness and you're over it, you don't need the vaccine. And if you've had the vaccine, why are you wearing a mask? True on all counts. But again, if you say that out there, you get silenced. All right, tell the folks one more time about the new social media platform, Mike. Where can they find a place to speak freely, no matter how controversial their comments might be?
Yeah, it's frankspeech.com, everyone. Yeah, it's frankspeech.com. And by the way, it's a safe platform. I bought my own service. I bought everything. You're not going to have Apple or Amazon or Google or Vimeo taking it down. Your information, believe me, I went after this for safety, capacity, and security. Those are the three things I have on there. You can speak freely. It's an amazing platform where we can keep getting our voice out there, because right now, the one thing that's happening in our country, they skipped right over socialism, right to communism, and they want to take away our voices. And so once again, it's frankspeech.com, and you can come there and just enjoy all the network broadcast portion of it. All people that you might be not seeing much on Vimeo and YouTube.
That's right.
You can see them over here.
Well, Mike, greatly appreciate it. You won't be silenced here, by the way. Greatly appreciate you taking the time and talking to me. I do. Mike Lindell, everybody. Thank you so much, Mike.
I sure appreciate you having me on. Thanks, Steve.
All right. I enjoyed having you. Mike Lindell here. We're going to take a quick break. Don't you go anywhere.